Hi everyone, this is Millennium. Today, I'd like to talk to you about Anji. Maybe you just started playing Strive or you're picking up Anji for the first time, took a look at a YouTube video or on Dustloop and got overwhelmed with all the complicated and varied combos and you really don't know where to start. Or maybe you're like me, someone who really has a hard time learning through rote memorization, someone who doesn't want to sit around just pressing buttons someone else tells you because they're quote-unquote optimal without really understanding why you're pressing them. If that sounds like you, I hope this video will be helpful. As it says in the title, this isn't going to be some complicated and advanced guide that teaches you every little nuance there is to do with Anji. However, I want to give you the tools and knowledge to understand how combos are constructed with him, why we use the moves we do, and hopefully give you a foundation for you to discover combos yourself or how to freestyle them when the situation arises in game. So without further ado, let's begin. And from here, I want to start with Anji's game plan. This might be a little bit of a shock to you. Aren't we supposed to be learning about combos? What does the game plan have to do with combos? To give you an idea of what a reasonable basic Anji game plan is, we'll say it's the following. That we want to force the opponent into a hard knockdown state, and then use Shitsu, which will lock down the options the opponents have to retaliate, and give us the breathing room to do some kind of mix-up on the opponent as they're waking up. Obviously, this is not the entirety of what you'll be doing with Anji at any given moment, but it'll provide us the basis for how to think for the rest of this video. So for now, this is going to be our goal. So the question is, how do we knock the opponent down? And to be more specific, which moves does Anji have that will produce a hard knockdown state? We can go into the lab and test out every move he has, but I'll save you that effort, because there are three which are the most important. There is generic throw, 2D Anji sweep, and Kou or 236S. Now, we can already remove generic throw from this video because without meter, you're not really comboing into anything. Once we land the throw, we're already in a position where we can run our game plan. We throw, and then we shitsu. Simple enough. So what about the other two moves? Let's talk about 2D first. 2D is a bit easier to discuss because of the system mechanics of the game. We could use just 2D on its own and hope it connects. From there, life is simple because this hard knockdown will let us set up Shitsu and run our game plan. But what about other methods? Because of the Gatling system, there are a limited number of moves that we can use that will chain, or combo, into 2D. There are three. There's 5K, 2K, and close S. We've already just made our first combos that are useful to our game plan. They're only 2 moves long, but these are real combos that will all let us set up Shitsu and run some Okizeme. It might be a bit hard to see how these 2 move combos are particularly useful, so to do so, we'll have to think back to our original game plan. Before we discovered these, what was our only way to cause a hard knockdown? It was a throw. But let's say our opponent is really good at guessing when we want to throw them, and just text the throw every time. Or, what happens when we want to throw but we're a little further away? We miss. But do you know what doesn't miss? A 5K. Specifically, a 5K into 2D combo. What we've done is we've increased our effective range as a character. It is now not only scary to be right beside Anji, but now it's scary to be this little distance further away. We've made it so that even though we're out of throw range, our opponent still has to be scared. Are we going to close S into 2D? Or 5K into 2D? Or maybe 2K into 2D? Or are we just going to use 2D on its own? This is the power of combos that we want to unlock. We want to be able to run our game plan from a multitude of ranges, angles, and situations. The more flexibility and variety we have in terms of getting to our goal, the more difficult it will be for our opponents to defend against us. And this is just the beginning. Kou is a bit of an unusual move. It doesn't hit people who are grounded. It only hits people that are airborne. You can also hold it down to make yourself spin a little bit before it activates. There's an auto guard property in this spin, but that's not really relevant for the video today. The important part is that we can make this go just a bit further than just using 236S and tapping the S. Granting a hard knockdown is not the only good thing about Kou. It also does some decent damage, even in combos. This move has what we refer to as good scaling. In many fighting games, subsequent hits in a combo on the opponent will do less and less damage. That's something called combo damage scaling. Strive is no different. Kou is a move that does a lot of damage, even late in a combo. With this in mind, it makes sense to use it as much as possible. It does good damage, it gives us a hard knockdown. What's not to love? But how do we land Kou if it only hits airborne opponents? We could wait until our opponent jumps and try to hit them that way, as a preemptive anti-air. This is a totally reasonable and good use of Kou, but it's not particularly reliable since we're waiting for the opponent to do something. What we can, and should do, is find something that will combo into Kou. And to do that, we need to find moves that will put the opponent airborne. Here's a couple examples. First, there's 2H. You see how they pop up in the air like this? That's airborne. There's some good news about 2H. In almost every scenario, once you hit the opponent with a 2H, you can do a fully charged Kou, and it'll hit them nice and clean. What other options? Here's one you might not have thought about. 2D. Notice they're in the air for a little bit before they fall down. The opponent's actually airborne here, which means we can combo into an instant Kou if we're close enough. Because the end result is still that we get a hard knockdown, we should pretty much always combo into Kou from 2D if we can. The distance that this is possible is something that you'll have to play around with. You'll get better at judging whether it's possible with experience. And don't forget, we just learned close slash could also combo into 2D. That means close slash 2D Kou is an actual combo too. Same with 5k 2D Kou and 2k 2D Kou. We're building upon the combos that we already know and combining them together to make longer ones. Can we do the same thing for 2H? It does some beefy damage for sure, but it also seems kind of slow compared to a move like 5k. So it feels like it might be harder to land it. Can we find something to combo into 2H? The answer is absolutely yeah. The most useful one is when we counter hit with close slash. What about going a step further? A counter hit jump H will let us do close slash 2H Kou. Comboing in Strive requires us to find ways to extend a core set of moves. When we are unable to reach the opponent or our moves whiff, the combo ends. So in general, our goal is to create combos that have as many moves as possible before ending in Kou. But what if we can't end in Kou? There are times where we will use a normal in the open, but that normal can't combo into Kou. 2S, far S, 5H, and 6H will all combo into Fujin S or Nagiha. But we cannot combo into Kou as the opponent is never airborne. And Nagiha produces a soft knockdown, not a hard knockdown, meaning we cannot set up Shitsu Okizeme from it. Normally, it is not possible to convert these normals into a hard knockdown. However, with red Roman cancels, we can. Red Roman cancels are the most basic usage of the Roman cancel in Guilty Gear Strive. Using it during the opponent's hit stun will create a time slow effect and also pop the opponent airborne with a 0 damage attack. The emphasis here is on airborne, because this means we have the opportunity to continue to combo. /2H fully charged Kou is the most reliable sequence after a red RC for good damage, stage carry, and of course, our hard knockdown to set up Shitsu. Unsurprisingly, this is possible off all the normals mentioned before. In fact, it is possible off any hit, not just these ones. /2H fully charged 236S is generally the most reliable combo follow-up in most juggle situations. But because combos in Strive are dependent on factors like the initial distance to the opponent and the opponent's weight, there are times where we may need to truncate the combo. Here are a few ideas on how that may be possible. /236S is useful when the opponent is already airborne, but 2H will put the opponent too far to connect Kou. 2K Kou allows us to connect combos even if the opponent drops below where /S will hit. And finally, 236S on its own will work in some cases where we don't have the time to connect either of the above. So in a more practical sense, how can we use this information? We already know using Kou in combos is ideal. The answer, albeit a little simplistic, is just to use more Kous. These are known as Kou Loops. Depending on the specific juggle, it is possible to sometimes use 2 or even 3 Kous within a single combo without meter. As you become more familiar with the character, you'll get a better understanding of when Kou Loops are possible. It is difficult to tell you every single place where a Kou Loop can be done, but there are some general tips on how to recognize situations where they may be possible. Hopefully, this will give you a better idea on how to determine which situations are worth lapping further. Thankfully, these indicators are generally in line with Strive's combo system as a whole, and will also help you recognize opportunities for big damage with other characters. Remember that in Strive generally, the size of a combo is determined by the power of the initial hit, how close you were to the opponent, whether it was a counter hit due to the slowdown effect, and the weight of the opponent. These same conditions apply generally to the viability of a Kou Loop. Here, we have a counter hit /S hit very close to the opponent. Notice that we use 2K Kou here as the second follow-up, as a /S 2H Kou will not be possible. In this second example, we also have a big counter hit, and the initial juggle knocks the opponent very high up. This is also an important signal that it may be possible to perform a Kou Loop. However, the most telling sign is to look at how far away you are from the opponent after a single Kou. If the opponent falls almost directly above you or very close to you, there is a good chance that a second Kou will be possible. At the wall, the variance that occurs due to knockback from previous hits is reduced significantly. As such, the ability to perform Kou Loops at the wall is much easier than in the open. Let's recap what we've learned today. Our game plan revolves around knocking the opponent down and doing some Shitsu Okizeme. This is possible by comboing into 2D, or better, by comboing into Kou. If neither of those are possible, we can use red RC to extend our combos so that we can combo into Kou. And by looking for big, close hits or counter hits, and maybe changing up what we use in airborne follow-ups, we can even do multiple Kous for more damage. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been educational for you and shaved a bit of time off learning. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and help me out with that algorithm stuff if you'd like. Hope you stay safe, happy, and healthy. Until next time, this was Millennium.